When was the last time you discovered something? What was it that you found? Not all discoveries are necessarily important or interesting, but for hundreds of years, mankind has loved to explore. The thrill of finding something is quite a feeling, even if it is not anything of note. Yet the simple intrigue that surrounds discovered items is enough to get our minds racing. Where do these things come from, and what are their stories? Every once in a while, however, rather more fantastical discoveries are made, not all of them particularly pleasant, and some even a little sinister. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 chilling and mysterious stories. The chronovisor. The chronovisor is perhaps one of the most mysterious objects that's said to have existed. Father Pellegrino Ernetti met up with Father Francois Brunet during the 1960s. After catching up, the two men decided to take a ferry across Venice's Grand Canal. It was during this ride that they got onto a mysterious object. Father Ernetti had started to describe an object that could give someone all the answers they wanted. This conversation stuck in Father Brunet's head, and he was eager to find out more about this mystical object. Both men were said to be fluent in various ancient languages, and it was during this conversation that Father Ernetti said to Father Brunet that his skills may come in handy. He described a small machine that was able to answer any question you had, and that it could take you into the past or future. The two soon moved off the subject and carried on with their day. However, it was the mysterious device that stuck with Father Brunet. He was confused about what kind of device could perform such miracles, and so when he next met up with Father Ernetti, he brought up the mysterious device in conversation. Father Ernetti could tell he was interested, and so started to describe a device he called the chronovisor. Never hearing of such an object, Father Brunet asked what this object looked like. It turns out the chronovisor was said to be of the size of a small television, but instead of working like a typical TV, this device allowed you to tune in to past and future events. Father Ernetti then went on to say that the machine works by detecting the sounds and vibrations of the Earth, saying that our universe, planet, and everything inside it leaves a print. These charged prints stay in the universe forever, and with the correct equipment, you're able to hear and even see them. At this point, Father Brunet had many questions, one of which was, had Father Ernetti seen the crucifixion of Christ? Ernetti said the following: "We saw everything. The details were incredible." What Father Ernetti was describing to Brunet was essentially a time machine. However, instead of taking someone to a point in time, you would see these events through this device. Although this sounds far-fetched, some have compared this device to a modern-day security camera. Security cameras allow you to see past events being played out. Another device that works in a similar way is that of large telescopes. Galaxies, nebulas, and other astronomical events take a long time to reach us, but if you were to travel to them, it would look completely different. Unlike many of these stories though, there is alleged proof of this event. Father Ernetti was able to snap an alleged photograph of Jesus Christ's face through the chronovisor while he was on the cross. However, not long after, researchers discovered that the photograph was identical to one sold at the Sanctuary of Merciful Love in Italy. After this revelation, Father Ernetti said little more about the photograph and the chronovisor. He died in 1994. The Vatican and aliens. Alien life is a fascinating topic, and a lot of people out there really do believe in extraterrestrial life. Two topics that you probably wouldn't combine, aliens and the Christian Church, at least not in the modern day. Yet, some theorists believe that the Vatican's archives are filled with quite incredible and revealing artifacts. Are they hiding a darker form of history? Aliens. So what are the Vatican archives? The institution of the Vatican Apostolic Archives was founded in 1600. But the actual archives themselves, which hold thousands of secretive documents, were moved to the Vatican Archives Library in the early 1400s. Papers in the archives are thought to date back to the 8th century and earlier. Underneath the Vatican, there is a large Roman necropolis that would have acted as an open-air cemetery thousands of years ago. Naturally, the age and the purpose of the foundations under the Vatican City open it up to conspiracies about what could really be under the surface. Aliens are one of the things that are thought to be hidden under the Vatican archives, according to conspiracy theorists. It has been reported that when researchers began to excavate part of the necropolis, they found elongated skulls that did not resemble human heads. The Vatican themselves have openly admitted the possibility of aliens, which has only fueled the fire. Whilst nobody is sure what those skulls under the Vatican are, and more so who they belonged to, many are convinced that the Church is still hiding things even though their archives have long been declassified. Witch bottles. Witches have been part of cultures all over the world, drawing both respect and fear from the people that they lived amongst. Their power not being understood, citizens often blamed malicious and mysterious happenings on witches, and protection from and persecution of mages is historically synonymous almost the world over with the presence of the witches themselves. There has been a plethora of personal protection against magic and incantations scattered between cultures and throughout history. But one of the most enduring is the witch bottles primarily seen in England and the United States, which date back to the late 17th century. Witch bottles vary in function and form, but the earliest ones were made of salt-glazed stone water jugs known colloquially as Bellarmines, named after Catholic Inquisitor Robert Bellarmine, who viciously persecuted Protestants and played a role in the burning of several witches. These stoneware jugs were typically brown or grey and were glazed with salt and embossed with a bearded face. However, as the bottle evolved in later years, they were frequently seen made from glass or other containers and ranged widely in size. Ironically, the witch bottles were intended to protect the owner from spells and incantations, but they were typically prepared by witches or other folk healers for the owner. They were generally created by taking the owner's hair or nail clippings and sealed, although later bottles included herbs, needles, pins, and red wine. Other variations sometimes found added seawater, earth, sand, stones, thread, feathers, shells, herbs, flowers, salt, vinegar, oil, coins, or ashes. To activate the protection of the witch bottle, the owner would then bury the bottle at the furthest corner of their property, under a hearth, or else hid it well within the house. As long as the bottle was unbroken and unseen, it would be effective in protecting the owner from evil spirits, which would become trapped within the material inside. Because of this, people made sure that they hid their bottles incredibly thoroughly, inadvertently ensuring that they were only found centuries later as the buildings fell into disrepair or were torn down completely. Other methods of activation of the witch bottles included breaking the bottle by throwing it into a fire, which effectively broke the spell placed on the owner or ended the life of the witch. Some bottles are still made and used today, even as we continue to find well-buried and preserved bottles from hundreds of years ago, suggesting that the tradition apparently endures as well as the witch bottles themselves. But what do you make of these interesting discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.